Well, hello there, Yellow Army, and welcome back to another interview here on official TUFC TV. Now, of course, I'm joined by the only person that we want to speak to right now, which is, of course, United manager Gary Johnson. How you doing, Gary?
Yeah, I'm fine. Cheers, John.
Now, obviously, what a weekend it was. It's not obviously ended the way that we wanted it to. Up at Ashton Gate, what a dramatic afternoon it was for everybody watching, and the United fans, the Yellow Army, everybody involved with the club, and many, many neutrals. Gary, what's your take on it now, looking a few days later on?
Well, it's I still haven't got over it, of course, and I think, you know, if you're like I am, where you're passionate about the game and your club, then obviously it takes a little while to get over it, of course. But things happen, and you know, there's a lot of business to be done at our football club at the moment. I got my own done quickly, so that I didn't have to worry about that. And credit to the club, and I thought that was the right thing to do. Really, when you talk about the Yellow Army, I mean, it's really important to thank. I haven't really had a proper opportunity to thank them for their fantastic support at Ashton Gate in the final, and obviously the Notts County game in the semi-final. You know, that'll be forever in your memory anyway. Gutted that we didn't win the game for them, you know, because, you know, when I came here, Torquay fans were always had been disappointed over previous years, and sort of done much for a little while. And I wanted to, you know, we give them the Conference South, but they really wanted the Football League, and we just fell short of that, not in our play or in our endeavour, but you know, because of some incidents that happened, shall we say, that showed it wasn't going to be our day, if you like. But what an atmosphere! What an atmosphere! And you couldn't write the story. And when Lucas scored, I really felt the story was going to be him. And then he saved the first two penalties, and I thought, you know, this could end well. But unfortunately, fairy tales don't always end up well, only for kids. And we ended up, you know, losing 5-4 on penalties. But you know, I want to thank choking up already. Excuse me. I want to thank the supporters for their support. I want to thank the board as well for their support over the last couple of years in making our team grow and making it better. Hopefully we can, you know, with the board, do that again this year. You know, we are at a recruitment stage at the moment, which is very important, because in a second we'll talk about who's being released and who's been offered contracts. I didn't really get a great chance to thank the players. We was all so disappointed in the dressing room. It was difficult to console anybody, including me. And it was only when, you know, our CEO George Edwards came in and said, "Well done to everybody for a fantastic season," and he was proud of us. We sort of then knew probably that was the same thoughts of our supporters, as disappointed as they were, still to, you know, feel for the lads, if you like, and realise that the boys have given their all. So I'll take this opportunity to thank the boys and to say, you know, we hope to keep as many of them as we can. You know, most of them, some have been made offers, some haven't, and as I say, we'll go through that. I want to thank my staff because they've been brilliant. Absolutely, every one of them has, you know, we have a staff at Torquay that is not massive, and you know, every one of us probably does the jobs of 2 or 3 staff at other clubs, but we're happy with that because we trust each other. You know, yes, we have to lend our hand to things sometimes that are above and beyond the call of duty, but they do it without moaning, and they do their job. So I want to thank my staff because they've been brilliant. Obviously Downsy, Pete, Louis, Kai, little Scholesy that helps Kai, Phil Osborne, Russell Cleave. You know, that they've been absolutely great, and I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. I haven't meant to, but anyway, that's where we are with them. Our ambitions are the same, mate. Next year, you know, we're going to do all we can to reach the ambition of the Football League. We've got to try and, at some stage, once we've got over it, we've got to look forward to the next season. As I said, we've identified new recruits that I'm quite excited about, but we are going to lose some of our lads, as some fans probably already know.
Yeah, because it's unrealistic to think that there's not going to be any disappointment, but also it's probably a time to actually reflect as well on how far we've come in a very short period of time. When you came here, Gary, obviously we were mid-table in National League South, and of course everybody wanted to be a Football League club, but we were a lot further away than we were on Sunday, weren't we?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we can only build a football club, but what you can't generally do is build a football club with the same players year in, year out, because you put these players into the public eye, if you like, then you got all the vultures outside that, you know, to be fair, it's the game anyway, that want to, you know, nick your players, and, you know, they end up saying it's a compliment really, but it just means that we have to find somebody to take that player's place who's done obviously very well. And the fact that, you know, if a league club comes into these lads and offers a few more pennies, then they're going to want to enhance their careers financially and in league status. So, you know, I've had to do it all my career, where we've brought a player from nowhere. We've, you know, made him into a player, or helped make him into a player. And then, of course, you lose them through higher league clubs with, you know, that are able to offer them decent deals. And that's the game. I mean, if you don't mind, Dom, I'll take the opportunity to let you know who the released squad are.
Yeah.
So that people know, first of all, our fans will know, which is, you know, we try and let them know first. But it's Billy Walters, Josh Umrah, JJ Evans, Owen Price, Liam Davis, Andrew Nelson, Busey, and Gaz Warren. All of those were a major part of what we've been doing, because they've obviously been training with us. Some of them have had lots of games with us. But I needed, you know, sometimes you've always got a cut off. You need to cull some so that you can bring in others. And so we wish them all the very best. They've all played a part, and I thank them for their service. Everyone else that's on contract outside of those has been offered a contract. Some of them are about to sign, which is nice. And there is still 3 or 4 that have decided to just wait a little while to see what's out there, which is, you know, not always healthy and not always makes you happy, but it means that they're obviously waiting to see if there's anything other than us out there for them, which is normal, I suppose. So anyway, that's why we've got to be ready with our people that new recruits, new people, new players. I've done it every year so far, so I'm sure I'll be able to do it again. And there's a couple of exciting ones, but obviously they're not actually signed and sealed yet. But when they are, I'll let people know. So, you know, we're always disappointed to lose people, but we always, you know, bring in as good as we had where we can.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Gaffer, is that after a season where so many players have performed so well, that they are going to catch the eyes of Football League vultures, if you want to call them that. One that has been doing the rounds on social media is the man of the moment, Lucas. Are you able to tell us any more on that?
Yeah, well, I can tell you exactly on that. I mean, Lucas, I spoke to him the day after the final just to say, well done, Lucas. You know, a fantastic game. He was nearly the hero. Wasn't down to you. You know, you've scored the equalising goal. You've saved 2 penalties. You know, and had a good game. We always knew when I brought him into the club that he had potential in him, and Phil Osborne's worked really tirelessly with him, as I have. But obviously the goalkeeper coach mainly, and he's become a very, very good goalkeeper. He just needed somebody to give him the time of playing him at a good level and in a team that was successful to unfortunately put him in the shop window. But he's 30 now. He was desperate to get into the Football League. He had people, obviously, I would have thought, because it happened so quick, chirping in his ear previously before the game. Obviously, his agent would have been out there as well, trying to find a club for him in case we didn't do it. And then the day after, on the Monday, Lucas called me to say, Gaffer, I really enjoyed it. I really thank you. You've made me grow up as a goalkeeper, as Phil has, and the rest of the staff. And he would be joining, I don't think it's a secret now, he's joining Port Vale. And unfortunately, we've lost him. But nice that we've helped him. But sometimes it's bittersweet, isn't it?
It is indeed, and then obviously he goes with the blessing, I'm sure, of everybody at Talk United and also the Yellow Army after his performance on Sunday. But like you said, it does present you with the opportunity to bring in new players whilst keeping the same DNA that has served us so well over the last couple of seasons. And of course, it is going to be such a swift turnaround, Gaffer, isn't it? Because no sooner has one season ended, because this has dragged on for so long because of the pandemic, the next season is only just around the corner. What are you able to tell us about arrangements for pre-season?
Well, yeah, that was a difficult one because we'd arranged games as if, we were coming back pre-season early. So you organise your usual games that you have to get in at the start of pre-season or just after. So we've had to cancel some of them because the season's gone on later, obviously. We've managed to put a couple of those in at the end, towards the end, but it's a competitive pre-season. And me and Downsy were at the club yesterday with George, and we confirmed all our pre-season fixtures. So I'm pleased to say we have got a competitive pre-season, which we're going to need because there isn't a lot of time to prepare ready for the new National League. It gives us more time than we would have had we got into the Football League. But, that it just means that we'll be sure of getting our lads ready during the pre-season for the 21st of August, which will be our first National League game.
Yeah, and of course, last season the picture was very different. It was very uncertain, and we were struggling to actually find fixtures last year because, of course, the EFL clubs were already starting their campaign, and then you had the travelling restrictions and all of that. So it must be a boost to you to actually have a competitive pre-season fixture list.
It is, because we had to hope that people stayed with us, the early ones that we arranged, and then it will come out sometime this week. Our pre-season games, I think there's a couple just to cross the T's and dot the I's, as it were. But, as long as you've got Saturday games pre-season, then you can use your whole squad in all those games. Actually, I think 4 out of the 7 will be at Plainmoor. So it'll be good when the supporters come back, and hopefully they'll be back by then, and see the new lads and the new team that we've put together.
We just were talking about a minute ago, you were saying that obviously there's some discussions already with new players. Where does the land lie regarding some of the loan players that performed so well last season?
Well, we had 2 players with us, didn't we, that performed unbelievably the whole season, and that's Rands and Shez. And, I've contacted both clubs and thanked them for, the loan of their player. And if we can find them sort of loans with that sort of quality and commitment to the club again, then you've done well, sort of thing. Because they were Torquay United for the whole season. They're both going to be good players. We'll have to wait and see whether they get into their club teams when the start of the season comes for them, which is early August. And if not, I'll be the first one on the phone to see whether, it's possible to loan them again, because I think they both improved over the season. We've appreciated them. I think the clubs have appreciated what we've done as well for their player in that important time of them becoming a little bit more experienced and playing that competitive football for as long as they have this season and as well as they've done.
Because it does say a lot about the club and the environment that you create for the players, Gaffer, doesn't it? That if you look back, like only last season where Joe Lewis went back, that they are willing to come back again. And obviously you don't know what's going to happen in the future for Adam and Sam, and they both go with our best wishes, but also players like Connor, like Jake, that have actually come here on loan and actually ended up coming back again. But loan players is not something that's new to you, Gaffer. So you've been there, you've done that. And throughout your career, a lot of loan players have come and blossomed at these clubs. And so you wouldn't be afraid to go and do it again, would you?
Well, I've got 4 in the Welsh team at the moment. Joe, Wayne Hennessy is the reserve goalie, but he's been their first goalie. Joe Roden, who I've had on loan. Joe Morrell, who I've had on loan. And, of course, Kiefer Moore, that I had on loan. So, I think you don't always get the exact right loans in, but when you do, they're ones that have totally thrown themselves into our football club. And that was the case in Rands and Shez. And then you obviously get others that, you have to get quick because you need somebody quick. And so you bring them in and it doesn't quite work out. But we certainly have had a lot of loans that have worked out over the years. And those 2 are right up there with the best.
And with some players coming and going, Gaffer, how do you ensure that you keep that what went so with that DNA, that strength, that talky, you said about talkifying players? How do you ensure you keep that then?
Well, you do, because people that are still at the club, and of course, we will have, we haven't for sure yet, but I'm pretty certain out of the ones that have moved on, ones that have been offered contracts to, we've probably got 6 or 7 of them that are already agreed to sign. It's just a matter of signing the contract and just their agents looking over it and then it going to the league. So that's good. So it means we've got a good base of players that we want to keep and that have, committed themselves to us for another ambitious season. They've enjoyed it. We just got, I think it's 3 or 4 that are just keeping their options open right now. So we'll have to wait and see. So you keep it by your staff will be the same. The management will be the same. Your office staff will be the same, because the office staff, including yourself, mate, have worked so hard, and George and Mel, every one of you, I've seen you sweating and given when you had to give out the tickets and trying to help everybody and taking all the flack that wasn't your fault. So I don't want to forget the office staff that I know have been brilliant and worked very hard. So I want to thank them as well. So the DNA stays the same because of the office staff, the playing staff that will still be there, and my football staff that will be around. So everybody will make sure that DNA will still stay the same. I've got a couple of meetings this week with players that are going to be coming around my house to have tea so that I'll show them a video, and I want them to feel that, yes, this is the club I want to be at. Yes, I'm enjoying the video. I see myself in that video and being part of Torquay United, and that helps me Torquayify them before the season starts.
And it must be a real bonus. You talked about this before, about having a track record when you are trying to attract players to your club and saying, look, this is what we want to do, this is what we can do. Having a track record such as yours, and we're all delighted that you're staying with us, Gary, but I make it that you've had 4 complete seasons at this level in the National League. And you finished 3rd, 1st, and now 2nd. That's not bad going, is it?
It's not bad going, but we start off with thinking you need to be first, and first. You know what I mean? But this league now is so strong, isn't it? You've seen we knocked out Notts County, and Hartlepool knocked out Stockport, and teams like Wrexham, Halifax. Teams that are big teams at this level have not been able to get back into the league as soon as they thought they could. So, it's no consolation right now that we lost in the final, but at the same time, what we do know is our club was very, very close, and but for you know, I'm going to say it again, the lottery of the penalties and the bigger lottery of refereeing decisions, we may have been there, and they're things that you can't factor in because they just happen on the spur of the moment, and you know, one man's mistake can cost you a great deal, and that was the lottery of that final.
I'm going to try and be diplomatic here, Gaffer. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but on that note, has the referee come back to you at all with following your request? That's
a great question, mate. What do you think? I said I'm pretty sure. He promised me he would. You know, I spoke to him nicely, calmly at the end of and asked him, you know, would he look at the video? Would he look at the goals that were scored, the penalty decision? Could he look at it on the video? I'll understand if he feels he's made a mistake. And he said he would. So when they say they would, you'd like to think they would. But unfortunately, he hasn't, as you can guess from my demeanour.
Well, moving on to next season and the plans for it. The Yellow Army, like you've already said, are going to be very, very important. And if they can reproduce an atmosphere like we had against Notts County, that can only assist the club further, can't it?
Well, I think the one thing we've done in defeat is we've gained even more support from our fans. You know, when they all get over it, I'm sure they must be really looking forward to, I'm going to produce a team again that they'll enjoy watching. I'm not saying this for season tickets. I'm not saying this to appease everybody. I'm not like that. But what I know is that we'll have a competitive team. And if we can get that support that we've had in the last, you know, couple of games, because obviously we haven't had them before, the Notts County game showed you how important that was. And also the final, even, because we scored again in the 96th minute or whatever it was. Didn't expect that, but you know, it just shows the fans' faith. You know, there wasn't 1,000 of our fans walked out with a minute to go. You know, they knew there could be Gary time coming up, like, you know, and it turned out, you know, Lucas time in the end. But we got there, and then it was just, you know, unlucky. It was in the hands of the gods, really, and you know, one player slips over, Billy taking his penalty. Busey hit a good strike, but the goalkeeper managed to get his hand to it, put it onto the bar. And Danny Wright, who, you know, has never missed well, he's not never missed, but he doesn't miss many. Obviously caught it lovely with tired legs, but hit the underside of the bar, or the middle of the bar. So, and that's how it is. So we need the fans. We love them. I think they understand what we're trying to do. They can trust me. They can trust the club. And they'll be able to trust the players that come in for the start of the season, and we go again. We'll only be a year older this time next year. So, as Del Boy says, this time next year we're millionaires, Rodney.
Well, it's only 59
Dominic,
days.
Did I say Dominic?
Well, it's described as a Rodney on occasions, but okay. 59 days until our first game of the season. It's not very long, is it, Gaffer?
No, it's not very long, but it's long enough. We do need a break, that's for sure. We need to regroup, and as I say, me and Downsy and Jules were, you know, in the office on Tuesday, making sure that, you know, we're talking about the strategy for next season. Me, Downsy and Pete have been on 4 different Zooms over the last couple of days, just picking out players and working out who might stay, who might not, so that we can replace them. And you know, we're going to have to ask the boys to let us know that haven't signed their contracts yet, and you know, leaving it a little while. We're going to have to ask them pretty soon that they're going to have to make a decision, so we can move on.
Great. Well, Gaffer, we really appreciate you taking the time out, you know, and to join us today. And we hope you have a nice, relaxing break over the summer, and look forward to seeing you again for pre-season.
I appreciate that, and thank you to everyone for your undivided and fantastic support. Thank you.
Yes, stick with us, Yellow Army. Keep the faith. The ambition remains the same, and we will speak to you again throughout the course of the summer, leading up until the new season. But for now, keep safe, take care, and we'll speak to you all again very, very soon.